But they say the tail end of the cooking pot, that's for beef, it's the sweetest. Yeah, that's an African riddle. If it's not there, you have to look for it. Anyway, we're still talking youth and youth funding in the Kenyan economy. Now, the 2019-2020 budget just got tabled the other day, and there was a lot of conversation on the top expenditure. Now, if you don't know, is that the youth are actually the majority of the Kenyan population. We're actually talking about 2050. That's when the aged in the Kenyan economy, as opposed to the majority of the population, is going to stand at 7%. But now, the youth are the majority. And everybody is talking about having this special focus on youth issues within the Kenyan economy. And I'm talking about funding the youth so that the youth can actually stand for themselves within the Kenyan economy. Now, everybody knows that upon devolution, we are talking about the word being the basic level of decisions on spending and leadership within the Kenyan economy. Again, this morning, who better to talk about youth issues and youth funding within the Kenyan economy other than the youth advisor, that is Voice Africa, Karl Marx himself is right here in the studio. Karl Marx, thank you very much, man. It's a pleasure to host you.
Thank you, man.
I know we have 10 minutes, so let's get straight into the issues. And I want us to look at the first question that I had for you yesterday. It is that the government has always preached for youth participation. I mean, we have a president who, when he came into power, he said, I'm young, so I'm going to represent you. And so when you look at the way in which the government is spending, has spent over the past 1 year, one term, but now going into the second term for this government spending, do you think that it actually spent more on youth, which they said was going to be their focus?
Thank you so much for having me. Basically, they have not.
They have not.
Let's start from there.
Yes.
They have not.
Yes.
Morosely, dolefully, you can see about the budgetary allocation.
Yes.
For the 2019-2020,
yes.
It reveals a clear focus that is favoring the rich,
yes,
the privileged, the affluent, as the poor, the young people, the underprivileged, are actually suffering more and are going to suffer more.
Yes.
Look at it this way. If you look into the informal employment, like the border sector,
yes,
there's a new rule. There's a new rule that is ensuring that they contribute. Basically, they contribute for the government in terms of the CISA collection plate. And so therefore, what I foresee, or maybe what I can advise the young people when it comes to the 2019-2020 budget,
yes,
the main focus that we need now to relook into is about the food security,
yes,
and the agriculture.
Yes.
That actually got a boost. Because that is where now there is a focus.
Yes.
And they are trying to test. There is a test for you people now to try and actually now get your green thumbs working. Number two, I think those who are in e-commerce, brace for yourselves.
yes,
Because this is now the time. There is need for you guys now to do a lot in terms of marketing strategies. Because that is where, again, somewhere that I can also see that there is something for the young people. But other than that, there is nothing much that the government is actually trying to do much better, or even trying to do good for the young people.
Yes.
I think the budget does not reflect anything to do with the young people.
Yes.
So it's just a peanut. But we can focus on that.
Somebody from the government listening to you right now will say, but what is he talking about? We have the Kenya Biashara Fund that has actually come together to put all the funds that we've had in the past together into one fund that the youth in the country can look into and tap for business opportunities. So somebody is going to challenge you. Do you think, therefore, that the Kenya Biashara Fund is actually something that can help youth in this economy?
Okay, the Biashara Fund, okay, from where I see it, it's a good idea.
Yes.
Because, you know, this is now, you consolidate the other three
That's the
individual
fund,
funds,
the women fund,
all that, okay?
Put them into one.
And more importantly, they will give the loans direct to the groups.
Yes.
As low as 6%.
Yes.
Per annum, okay? On a reducing monthly, charges, if I may,
Yes.
if I may, I'm not right, am I right? Now, that basically makes it more clearer to the young people that the percentage itself is very attractive.
Yes.
Second to that, if you get to the commercial banks, actually they're giving their loans up to 13.5%.
Yes.
So that's way above what the Biashara Fund is actually allocating. Basically, the funds are actually for the business. So that again makes it more prudent for the young people, because it will be reflected on now the business,
yes.
not other given entities. Then if you look at it this way again, that I can also get to say that there will be some clear, now that prudence work, the young people will get it much easier for them
yes.
to access these funds, because it has been consolidated.
Yes.
So then there will be that efficiency, that professionalism. Initially it used to be like these other ways of fund and whatever. There's some patrons, there's some a lot of paperwork that you people, I don't know you get to do. So there was a lot of tedious work for the young people just to access 50,000.
Yes.
Now for this one, you can go up to around 3 million. So even the funds, even if they're directed to the banks, then they cannot also not offer them higher than 10%.
Yes.
So I think for the Biashara Fund, it's really a good idea, and the young people need to tap on that.
Before walking into the studio this morning, and when we released your poster yesterday, one question that was really very prominent from some of the youth in this country was this. Can you ask him, from his position, he actually interacts with the youth from all basics or the bases of life.
Yes.
There's the top and the bottommost in that line of development. Is it not worrying for him that anybody who wants to help the youth in this country will come in with a grant? I'm giving money to the youth. I'm giving them money to start businesses, without actually looking into the environment where these youth are, without actually going into deeper basis level where you're going to say, I'm going to educate you. Then after that, you can actually stand for yourself, which was the same question they had for me, that all these funds that we're talking about, they sort of look like grants. Like, we give you that money, and that's exactly what the government is actually doing. That's not for me, that's from them. Does it worry you that we have so many grants that are going to the youth in this economy vis-a-vis more permanent platforms, education platforms, where they can go in, therefore, and use these funds correctly?
Rights without responsibility is just a big mess.
Yes.
And therefore, when somebody tells you that they're giving out grants, there is no country that will always grow with the grants.
Yes.
So therefore, the young people need to understand that anytime they invest in any given business or any given platform, let it be something that they can own it, they can lead it, and they can manage it.
Yes.
So grants is a way of actually trying to micromanage your ideas. They're trying to micromanage. They need to set some boundaries for you guys, not to see beyond the grants. Because thereby, you will not actually have an idea to partner. You will not collaborate. You get what I mean?
Yes.
So in that line, therefore, the young people are actually vulnerable to the people who actually are giving them grants, so that there is no more space for you people. So they need to get out and not only look at any other given idea in terms of grants. And I think
yes.
it is high time they start to partner, they start to collaborate, and they start to engage more within the quarters of where they are. Because these people will not give them space. It is them to create space on their own. Grants does not work, and grants will never uplift young people.
Yes.
They need to empower themselves through other avenues. But this, what I say, when you get into even loaning, like for example, now the Biashara Fund we are talking about.
Yes.
When a young person get that, they will actually manage them very well, because they know this is somewhere that I need to be disciplined within my savings, within my spendings, and within my limits.
Yes.
But if you're given grants, you will decide that fine, this is a grant,
yes.
there is no need for me to return this grant, or maybe there is nothing that is attached to it, so therefore they will not get to work harder and extra to save more, to live within their limits, and even to get, the capital to generate more for them.
Yes.
So therefore, grants, I don't always believe grants can make any country grow, but more importantly, the young people now need to focus on their energy to actually build a country.
Yes.
But then we need to give them more space.
Interesting enough that yes. I just want us to go back to Biashara Fund. This is another question that I wanted to put you across to you this morning. Here's the thing, they're saying, well, it's there. But if you look at the provisions, you have to be a group of people, isn't it? You have to prove that you are actually running this business and you've created employment to other people as well, isn't it? They're even talking about the limits. You got to do a turnover of over 2 million shillings in a year. You got to come up together in the various provisions of the Biashara Fund when you look at those articles. Now, one question that I was asked is this: do they really know the business needs of the Kenyan youth in this country? Is it possible for an enterprise in the Kenyan economy that is run by youth to be in the level of 2 million shillings turnover in 1 year? So are you therefore not telling us pretty much don't come for those funds, for the Biashara Kenya Fund?
These are what we're actually trying to fight, because I sat during the Biashara, because it was KEPS, I think, that actually came up with this.
Yes.
But then I told them, there is no way you can actually give loans or maybe give some money to the young people and to set the conditionalities for you to access the fund. It's like telling you there is no fund.
There's no fund.
So that means we are not helping the young people.
Yes.
It's like we are just trying to make these things look like the paperwork, but then in reality they are not reflecting.
Yes.
So it is high time we don't talk of this, because idea alone is money. The ideas that the young people have, those are money.
Yes.
But then how do we translate them into money? It's not about liquid money. Why don't we now get back and understand that these ideas that the young people are coming, their opinion, can we give them space so that they can actually generate them into that money that we are talking about?
Yes.
Because to these people, I think they are just giving a blanket way of reasoning that it is all about the liquid cash that they are giving. No. The investment that people have in terms of their ideas, this is what we need to tap.
Yes.
But then, if we start with 2 million, who is going to start a business that is going to generate 2 million within 2 months?
2 million.
It's not there. If there is that,
Yes.
I mean, who will not actually love that type of business?
Yes.
But we need to grow step by step. So all these given conditionalities to access the Biashara Fund,
Yes.
we need to review them much better,
Yes.
so that the young people can access them, not only to stop them from growing, but actually to make them grow much better and bigger.
Yes.
Because we need this country more than we need the funds. So if the country is going to just stop, just in the name of we have these funds within banks, but we cannot access them, then what was the need of that Biashara Fund?
Karl Marx, this is the question that I actually have for you, and it's going to be our last question this morning, because I'm getting told, well, Simba, your 15 minutes with Karl Marx done. Here's the thing. We've seen exactly what is happening in the Kibra constituency right now. I mean, everybody's talking about the young people within the Kenyan economy going for that seat. Whether it's true or not, we're actually waiting to see exactly what happens. Therefore, when you look at the way in which the youth leadership in this country is headed, would you say, therefore, that some of the problems that the youth are having, even in terms of accessing funds, in terms of not knowing that they can go to the world level and actually demand for development projects that are supposed to sustain the economies, would you say that leadership has played a bigger role in some of the problems that the youth are experiencing in this country?
Yeah, thank you. The leadership is one of the biggest obstacles.
Yeah, and Karl Marx, be very careful, because someone is watching you and saying, who is a leader?
The reason why I say that, get it from me.
Yes.
Look at all the appointments.
Yes.
All the appointments are actually geared towards the veteran politicians.
I see.
Call it ministerial jobs, ambassadorial postings, parastatals, boards. In general, let's talk of party positions. Where are the young people? You cannot work with the young people if you don't want to engage them. You don't want to involve them. Okay? These are the points of actually growing the young people. Okay? But again, I ask myself, is it the young people to blame for this? Or is it that the elderly politicians are plain selfish? Or somewhat, are they scared of the intelligence and the vibrancy of the young people? So then, there is no country that can grow without the input of the young people. We need to give them more space when you want them to grow. Because politically, almost everything geared or almost everything runs around politics. If we don't want to give these people more space, how do you expect them to grow? And more importantly, the climate, the world climate today is all about the new ideas from the young people. And we need fresh political leaders. That is when the society will be growing. So a country that needs to thrive must actually now get back and engage the young people to the fullest.
On that note, I want to say this morning. I can't say it further. I mean, what better way to end the show other than that quote from Karl Marx? I'm still saying that I didn't have enough time. Guess what? We end it. We're gonna call Karl Marx back again. You're watching Business AM. This is Metropole Television. Catch a repeat of this conversation immediately after Metropole News at 1. My name is Elijah Charles Kiage. Good morning.